Hello guys, welcome. In today's video we are gonna talk about list comprehension. So what is list comprehension and why we use it? List comprehension is a compact syntax we used in our code. By using list comprehension we can short our code basically. So in this video we are going to discuss introduction to list comprehension and its basic syntax, and then we will discuss how can we apply looping and for loop in list comprehension by considering some examples. Suppose we will print the square of 1 to 10 natural numbers in one line, and then we will convert first 10 positive to negative numbers and print in one line, and then we will okay, and then we will make a program to print first element of each atom present in a list. We will be doing it in a shorter code than usual. All right, and then we will consider some exercise practices for you guys. For example, we take a list as an argument of a function and reverse the order of each element of the augmented list. For example, if input is this, so in output the order of each element must be reversed. So and then we will discuss list comprehension with if statement. So to understand it completely we will discuss a problem which is a practice exercise here, and then we will discuss list comprehension with both if and else statement with an example program, and then at last we will discuss nested list comprehension with example program. So these all the things we will be covering in this video. So if you want to learn all about list comprehension, please stick to me at the end of this video. Now first, list comprehension. So as we discussed earlier, in list comprehension we use to minimize our code. So first we have the program to print square. So I am going to create a list. So I'm going to create a list square. All right, inside the list, as we know that when we usually square when we were learning list data structure, so we square by using I exponent 2. So this statement we wrote inside the for loop. So the first argument in the list comprehension we will be writing what we were writing inside the for loop, and then we can apply for loop for I in. So they are the first 10 natural numbers, so I can use range function here for the range 1 to 11. We have discussed the range function in previous videos, so we don't have to go in details for the range function. So what is happening here, the I from the for loop from 1 to 10 will be squared and print here, and as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that the square from 1 to 10 is appearing at the output. Now the second program we have to convert 1 to 10 negative numbers. So these are the this for loop statement will be same because we are using 1 to 10. Now to convert into negative I just have to use minus I. So minus I will convert all the range arguments and all the range numbers which will automatically generated by the range function into negative form. As you can see, if I run this program, you can see all 1 to 10 numbers are converted into negative. Now the last program in for loop we have to print the first alphabet of each atom present in a list. Okay, for this we have to create a list first. So for this we have to create a list. Suppose I am going to create a list called name, and then name David and John. So this is the list called names, and in this program we have to return the first alphabets of each element. So We can directly do this by first is also a list. So I am going to extract their first element or their first alphabet from each element in name list. So how can I do this? I have to write the zero index of I, and then I can apply for loop for I in name, and then I can print first. Alright, so what is happening here, as we discussed in previous videos, if I want to print the first alphabet from name in list data structure, so I have to write for loop, and then inside the for loop I have to write this statement. But as I am using list comprehension, so what we were writing inside the for loop, we write first in list comprehension, and then we apply for loop here. So as you can see, as I run this program, you can see the first alphabets from the list name are appearing at the output. So for loop, I hope you understand how can we apply for loop in list comprehensions. So let's consider an exercise. So in this exercise, you have to take a list as an argument and print the reverse order of each element in the augmented list. Suppose the input is this ABC, there are three elements of as an input, and you have to print the reverse order of each element. So pause this video and try to do this exercise by yourself. So I hope you try this exercise. Now let's solve this problem. We have exercise here. Now first we have to take a list. So I can take list 1 is equals to, we have, I can directly copy from here till C, and I have this list. So this list is our augmented list. I have to use def function here, and then reverse, I am using rev as my function. So suppose L list is an argument, and then I still have to use the list comprehension because we are learning list comprehension here. So I just create a variable G, and inside the G variable I am reversing. So as we discussed in previous videos, to reverse each element's order, I am using indexing. In the third column I can put -1. So as I put -1 in the third column, all the elements in the augmented list will be reversed, and then I can use for loop for I in L, which is L is argument of our function, and then I can simply return G variable, and then I can print our function, print reverse, and we have list 1. So now what is happening here, it is self-explanatory that we are taking list 1 as an argument, and then we can create our function, and then we are applying for loop here as a list comprehension. We just did some examples, and then we are print our function here. So as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that each element's order has been reversed. So now let's proceed. Now we have list comprehension with if statement. Now list comprehension with if statement. So for this, let's consider a practice problem. So we have a practice here. So we have a practice program to separate even numbers from odd numbers. So let's make this program. So we are using if condition here in list comprehension. So for this I have to create a list called number, and in this list, sorry, it is number, and I can directly create a list by using list function, and inside the list function I can using range 1 to 11. So we will be separating even numbers in 1 to 10 numbers, from 1 to 10 numbers. Now I can write even. I am going to create another list called even number. So in this, inside the even number, I am going to use the list comprehension. As we discussed, we have to print, as I have to use the if condition. So first we print I, because after the we print I after the if condition. So whatever we have to print after the if condition, we write at first in the list comprehension. In if, when we are using if condition, remember. First I have to use for, as we for I in num. Alright, so num I will contain all the 10 numbers, and then I can use if condition here. If I percentage 2, so we have discussed in previous video, this is the remainder of I if its remainder is equals to 0. So I can directly print even number, because if it is the even number, it will be stored in even number list, and then I can print even number. And as you can see, for in this program, you can see that 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, these are the even numbers in the range 1 to 10. So I hope you understand this basic syntax, that how can we use if condition as in list comprehension. First we write what we were writing inside the if condition, and then if the for loop is occurring, we have to use for loop, and at last we are applying if condition. We can also check the even from odd numbers. So how can we check odd numbers? I have to write here not equal. So as I write here not, the remainder is not equal, so all the odd numbers will be stored in even number list, even number, and then we can directly print even number here. As you can see, for in this program, we can see 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or now we can print either odd numbers or even numbers. We can separate easily by using this in 3 lines. Alright, now let's proceed. Now we have list comprehension with both if and else statement. So for this, let's consider, I am removing this. Let's consider another practice problem. This practice exercise is that we are doing an example in which the output list even number multiplying by 2 and odd numbers becomes negative. So what we are doing, basically even numbers multiplying by 2. So if they are the even numbers, they will multiply by 2, and if they are the odd numbers, they will becomes negative. So we have to check the condition. So in this exercise, first we have to check the condition that either they are even or odd numbers. If they are even number, we will multiply them by 2, and if they are odd number, we will simply convert them into negative. Now let's begin this exercise. So first again we have to take the numbers. So I can directly take, as we did in pre-list, and I can use just simply, I have to write is equal to range function, range 1, 11. Now this list will contain numbers from 1 to 10, and then I have again list 1. So list 1 will contain the key part. What is the key part? First we have to multiply even number with 2. So first we will be checking even number. So I am multiplying I with 2. So I am multiplying I with 2, and then I am using if condition directly. If I i's remainder with 2 is equals to 0. So as we already know that this is the condition for even number. So if this condition is true, then I will be multiplying with 2. And then we have else condition. So in else condition we can directly else minus I. So if this condition is not true, we can simply write, if of course if they are not the even number, they will be the odd number. So if they are the odd number, they will convert into negative. We are using for loop. When we were discussing if statement, then we use first for loop and then if condition, when we are using if and else both in list comprehension. So for I in num, so I can simply put I in num. So I have to, now I can print list 1. So let's what we are, this is the key step, as you can see here, list 1. So what we are doing here, first we are checking for even numbers. So what we are writing inside the if condition, we write first. So we are multiplying 2 because even number will be multiplied by 2 in the output, and then we are using else condition. As they are not the even number, they will be the odd, so else will convert them into negative. And then we are using for loop. So first this loop will be running. We are writing, so the order must be the same. We have to follow when we are using both if and else, both statements. So now when I run this program, you can see that the even numbers multiplied by 2, 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10. These are the even numbers, they multiplied by 2, and the odd numbers, they become negative. 1, 3, 5, 7 and 9, they are appearing negative. So let's proceed now. I hope you understand and enjoyed this exercise. And then we have a nested list comprehension. So nested list comprehension, as we discussed earlier, that list inside list, or we say nested list when we were discussing list data structure. So we have nested list concept here. So there is a practice problem that how can I create this list in output. So I can create this list in output by using the list comprehension, by minimize our code. So I can have to create a list nested, and then I can use I for I in range 1 comma 4. So as you can see, this will store this element in nested. So I have to just print this element 3 times. So I can create nested for loop here. So I create another for loop for j in range 4. So this will be running 4 times and 1 comma 3, and this element will be printing these 3 lists, sublist. I can directly just print nested, and as you can see, if I run this program, you can see that, so there are 3. So range should be 4, sorry, the range should be 3, because we want only 3 sublists inside a list. So as I run this program, you can see that only 3 sublists now are appearing at the output inside the list. So that is how we can create the nested list by using the list comprehension. So let's again recap that what is happening in nested. Let's just recap that what is happening in nested list. First we are creating a for loop. So in this for loop, it is generating the sublist. As you can see that its range is from 1 to 4, which means it will run from 1 to 3. And then we are using another for loop which is going from range 3. So the range 3 means it will be running, so this for loop will be running 3 times to generate 3 sublists, as if we have already seen this. So that is all about today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, you learned something new. Please, if you have any questions, you can write in the comment section. I am waiting for you. Thank you very much for watching.